Recording to the cloud. I hope this works. Normally I record to my computer. Anyways, hello and welcome to Fresno City Toastmasters. I'm your president, Farron Jacobson, and we have a new member. Woo woo. Awesome. Thanks, Brent, for joining. And I don't see any guests today. Is that correct? Is everyone else members so far? Taylor, Heather, have you joined?
I will be joining soon. I was actually wanting to connect with Denise about that today or tomorrow, whenever you're free.
Okay, so we have one new member and one guest.
And then who's our new member?
Brent?
Yep, got Brent Paulson.
Oh, hi, Brent. Okay, great. Thank you.
Sweet. Let's kick it off with our mission statement on our agenda. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. You guys have all found the right place in a really supportive and positive club. As for business announcements, the same one that I've been announcing every week is that if you pay your dues before December 31st, you get a bonus pathway. Normally, those are $20 if you want an extra pathway. And if you have already paid your dues and registered, then just go into pathways, go through, choose a path, and they will give you an extra one that you can kind of hold on to until you're done with the current path that you're on. We decided at our board meeting that we are going to go dark for the holidays. So there will be no meetings on December 22nd or 29th. That means we have 2 meetings to go after this one, and then we will resume in January. Let's see. Oh, we would like to have a swearing in ceremony for new members. Do we want to do that next week? Can our new members be there next week, or should we wait until the second week from now, the 15th?
And if Heather joins, we can get everybody.
Yeah. So is the 8th good for everyone?
I'm free whenever.
That works for me.
Okay, let's do that on the 8th.
Usually we made everybody do a dance when we were meeting in person. We had to do salsa dancing. The new members had to do that. But since we're meeting virtual, you got out of it. Darn.
Oh,
They can
Yeah.
still do a
Macarena.
dance.
Yeah.
You don't watch TikTok, Joey? They can
Yeah.
still do a dance.
Yeah.
Hey, Joey, who was that guy who was in the club who actually did salsa?
Ray.
Oh,
Ray.
Aaron. What was his name?
Ray.
Ray. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I was just joking. And then that's what he came up with.
Sounds good. We will do our swearing in ceremony for new members next meeting on December 8th. We'll go over just a couple of things, housekeeping as far as Zoom. I think you guys are already familiar with it. We use our jazz hands instead of applause. Everyone keep yourselves muted unless you're called upon or during table topics. And if at all possible, when you're speaking or giving a speech, please stand up as if we were in a regular in-person meeting. And I'll pass the podium over to Toastmaster of the Day, which is Sarah Dawson.
Hi, welcome. It is so exciting to be here again. The theme today is silent gratitude isn't much use to anyone. You've probably all heard that when we have our minds focused on being thankful, it can decrease our stress and help increase our health. This internal focus can change our minds and health. But what about being able to express it out loud to others? Can it actually do anything for them? Well, Sarah Aljoe, I think that's her name, it's Aljoe of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, did a study that suggests that expressing gratitude not only improves one-on-one relationships, but could bring entire groups together, inspiring a desire to help and connect in people who simply witness an act of gratitude. One of the results of her study is that she believes a whole group of people who could be inspired to be kinder to one another, and through this interwoven kindness, the group itself could be a higher functioning group. This seemed to apply a lot to Toastmasters, as we're able to cheer each other on and demonstrate, like the cheering and the applause is all a demonstration of gratitude for this person. And as we are thankful for the feedback that we receive and all of this, it could encourage us to be a higher functioning group and just altogether be nicer. So I encourage everybody to be thankful in all things. Thanks, Ray. Oh, I'm supposed to introduce the general evaluator. I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to go back to, sorry. General evaluator today is Joey Myers. Go Joey, yay.
I was just waiting. I was going to hold my breath there waiting for Sarah.
Oh, no, I was supposed to send it back to Farron in my mind.
Well, I'm the general evaluator of the day. It didn't look like we have a few unofficial guests that are not going to be guests anymore. And this isn't your first rodeo. So you kind of know how this thing goes. So we don't have to spend a ton of time, but I'd still like to spend a little bit of time on our roles, our leadership roles. So I will be over the evaluation side of the meeting. And the first I want to introduce is our grammarian, who's going to introduce the word of the day, and that is Chanel West.
Hi, everybody. I just put the word and definition in the chat so you can look at it there and follow along. I actually had Googled in my search for a word of the day, words that are popular during the 1950s. I discovered several slang phrases, and one of the articles I was reading had this word, which is copacetic, that I had never heard of. Has anybody ever heard? You guys have. And I thought that it was a very interesting slang word because it sounds very official or fancy, but I Googled it, I looked it up in the dictionary, and it is in the dictionary as a slang phrase. So I think it's the most official sounding slang word that I've ever heard of. But copacetic means that you're fine, completely satisfactory, you're okay. So example sentence is, how are you? I'm fine, everything's copacetic right now. So we will all try to use that, and I will keep track of who can work that into their speech or table topics today.
Cool.
Well, I have a feeling, and maybe, I don't know if there's anybody as old as me here, but I feel like if anybody ever saw Fast Times at Ridgemont High, copacetic was the 80s slang word.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Sean Penn's character, I think, used to say it.
Well,
Little trivia.
it's from many decades then. I had never heard of it.
Yeah, it was in the 90s too. There was well, it wasn't rap at the time. It's like East Coast rap, the very sing-songy type. And there was one of the songs in the lyrics was copacetic, all right. So they used it. So it's
Okay, well, now I have to ask, am I the only one who had never heard of this word?
that's
Possibly.
okay.
Everybody else said, man,
That's
how
okay,
did I
Chanel.
miss
No,
it?
no
I
judgment.
think
No
they
judgment.
used to use it like saying cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well, since you guys already know how to use it better than me, it should be really easy to use. So I expect to hear it from everyone.
Cool. Thank you, Chanel. Thank you for introducing that word. And speaking of copacetic, we had a copacetic vacation before Thanksgiving. That's why I asked a little bit earlier. We went to Cambria and it was very copacetic. So there you go, Chanel. Go ahead and write me down for that one. Our counter of the day is Miss Taylor.
Hi guys, I am the counter of the day, and I will be keeping track of all of the crutch words that everyone uses. And they include like, so, you know, and this is just to prevent people from using them too much when they kind of have little brain stall out. So it should be fun. And that's it.
Thank you, Taylor. That is the fun one. The fun one when you're actually the counter, and the fun one for everybody else to have somebody watching it, listening for it. And our timer of the day is Mr. Storm.
Good afternoon, everybody. So I'm your timer for the day. I'm going to have a phone up here. So I'm going to attempt to give you the time right here, because on some phones you can't actually see the color. So I'll try to have this right here. And for the speeches, we are going to run 5 to 7 minutes. For the table topics, it is 1 to 2 minutes. And then after everything's done, we have an evaluations, and that will take approximately 2 to 3 minutes.
Got it, Storm. Good work. And then our last but not least is our Zoom leader, and that is Farron today. And Farron, just give us a rendition of what you're doing.
As Zoom master, I am making the video of today's meeting look good for YouTube. I will try to spotlight everyone who is speaking at the time that they are speaking, so we show up nice and big. The rest of the time we will be in Brady Bunch mode. That's about it.
Thank you, Farron. And I will toss it back to our Toastmaster of the day, Miss Sarah Dawson from Awesome Dawson Cookies.
Thank you very much, Joey. We had some Awesome Dawson brownies, but we haven't had any cookies. They were very good. Hey, Ruth, I have the special privilege of being able to introduce Denny Mason. She's a professional photographer and joined Toastmasters several years ago to strengthen her skills in a role she had in a local service club. She has completed her Competent Communicator and Competent Leader courses and is currently working on Pathways. Denny will talk to us about her very favorite topic today, money, and how to keep it from slipping away. Denny?
Thank you, Sarah. This is really my favorite topic. You know, nobody really talks about money to each other. When was the last time somebody walked up to you and said, hey, how much do you make? And you felt comfortable answering that question. As a culture, we don't really talk about money in an open way. And in a strange way, we sort of learn from our parents, but not always healthy ways of dealing with money. And we always assume that someone else knows more than we do. It's a mystery. Elusive mystery, money is. Everything you do with money affects your tomorrow. Worse or good. Either way, it always affects what's going to happen to you tomorrow. And there's a lot of emotion attached to money. If there's lots of money in the bank, it can represent hope, or if we know we're getting a big paycheck or a Christmas bonus, it represents hope. There's also a lot of regret around money, past decisions made. If only I had done this. Oh, I sold that stock too soon. Or I should have taken that job. There's just all of these. It's very emotional. Money is very, very emotional. So what I'd like to do is give you a little different perspective on that. Take it out of the emotional realm and take it into thinking realm, because that's really where we make our choices, is in thinking. But we tend to make choices based on how we feel at the time. With money, it's better to get all that feeling stuff out of the way somehow. But how do we do that? I have a few tips. They're the Denny do's and don'ts that I'm going to pass along. Oh, look what I found. Can you see that? I can't believe it. $100. What am I going to do with that? This is found money. What am I going to do with this $100? Well, I could go get 10 Starbucks cards, or I could pay down something. No, it's not enough for that. This is kind of blow money. $100 is only kind of blow money, isn't it? Or could I really do something with that? Christmas is coming up. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set this money down for a minute, and I'm going to think about that. So when I was 20, if I had found $100, what I would do with it is different than what I would do with it now. I call this $100 something that's fritter money. Like, figure out what's your amount of fritter money. What's something that you would pick it up and you would go, let's go blow it. That's fritter money. I love, it makes me feel really good to go to CVS and push a cart and spend $50 and walk out. It makes me really happy to just blow $50. That's my fritter limit, $50 right there. When it's over $50, I think about it. I stop and I set it down and I go, I got to think about that. For some people, they don't have a limit on what their fritter money is. And you got to know what that is. I've actually lowered mine now to 20. So I have a $20 fritter limit. If I get a 20, I look at it and I go, okay, I can blow that. If it's over 20, I've got to do more than that. I've got to set it down and think about how I can use it the best. And the trick here is to start thinking before we spend. In 1984, my grandma passed away, and I was young. I was married. I had a young family, And when my grandma passed away, she had saved money for my sister and I. And she gave us about $9,000, which today would be about $22,000. And it was so much money. I had never received an amount of money like that. I really didn't know what to do with it. And I'm going to tell you that since then, I have thought a lot about that. What I ended up doing with it was I paid some bills, got rid of the credit cards, paid off a car, bought more food for the kids. I didn't know what else to do with it. So I just did what I knew how to do with it. If you think about getting a large amount of money like that, what you would do with it in your 20s is different than what you would do with it in your 30s or your 40s, your 50s, 60s, or 70s. Every one of those decades gives you more experience of how you would handle money. And what you would do with a chunk of money is different. But I will tell you that those chunks of money, big chunks of money, now whatever you consider that to be big, big is like, man, I never expected to get that much money. Like a refi of a house where you end up with a bunch of cash back, or somebody leaves you money. Those things don't happen very often. Maybe once, twice, 3 times in your lifetime. So when there's a chunk of money that comes like that, it's very important to stop and think. Nothing has to happen fast. What you do with that chunk of money will change your life if you make the right decision, or it will change your life if you make the wrong decision. So very important to think. I have another little rule, which is this. Have you ever bought anything after 10 o'clock at night that was a good purchase? Never buy anything after 10 o'clock. Do you know all of the TV channels, all of the commercials that run after 10 o'clock at night? They know how vulnerable we are after 10 o'clock. You're either drunk or you're tired. Don't buy anything after 10 o'clock. It can wait. So I have a rule: no purchases after 10 o'clock. If I have to get it, if I just have to get it, I sit there and I think to myself, okay, I need to go wake up my husband and tell him that I need to make that purchase. That quashes it right there. And the last rule that I have about money, a Denny do, and this is a big one, is who do you talk to about money? When you have a question, you've got money in front of you, or you're concerned about, if I do this or if I do that, what's going to happen? Do you have somebody to talk to, like really honestly talk to about it? Not like your best friend or your mother or sister, somebody who's going to have any kind of personal interest in it, but just somebody disassociated from that money that you can actually talk to about financial things. I've established and on purpose made several friends like that, so that when I have a financial decision to make, I can make my decision, but then I call and talk to somebody about it just to get a little backup on it, to make sure that what I'm doing is the right thing, or even just to get a different perspective on it. Money doesn't last, but our choices about it do. This is why this $100 is important. And I want you to think before you make a decision about this. Think to make better choices. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Denny. That was really awesome. And it was very copacetic. There you go. I think what I really appreciate is that I always heard growing up that it's nothing good happens after, I think, midnight, but then there's also that little TV commercial is like, it's 10 o'clock, do you know where your children are? That kind of thing. So it's like, it's 10 o'clock, do you know where your money is? So thank you so much, Denny, for sharing all your Denny's do's and don'ts. It's really awesome. And now, Heather, it is, oh yeah. Heather, are you ready for table topics? All
Yeah,
right.
it's my first time doing table topics.
Yay.
And Denny, I really wish that, I took your copacetic advice, just a couple years ago, because I had that lump and but I wanted to try anyone. So I have a couple questions. And whether you want to answer. So the first one is sounds silly and simple, but what does silent gratitude mean to you? Has silent gratitude ever been useful for you? And also, this is my favorite question. Has there ever been a time in your life when silent gratitude was louder than if someone has made a grand gesture? Anyone want me to pick?
So you were kind of cutting out, so I think I missed a couple of them.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. You can either repeat them or put them in the chat if you can.
Oh, yes. Sorry about that. I didn't think about that. But the main question is, has there ever been a time in your life when silent gratitude was louder than if someone has made a grand gesture?
And then the first two, that was the last one, right?
Yeah. Has silent gratitude ever been useful for you? And what does silent gratitude mean to you? I'm sorry, they're not the best questions.
No, they're good.
Thanks.
I can go first. And then Heather, what you can do is you can start calling on people.
Okay, sorry, I did.
Yeah, I know. First time, it's all right. We're learning, right? We're learning. So those are good questions. I like that. And it goes with the theme, and that's always the easiest way to do it. So I would say silent gratitude as a benefit to me. I think you can do things that are routine in silent gratitude, meaning waking up in the morning. And if you're spiritual, religious, you can read the Bible. That's always helpful. You can do things, I think Tony Robbins talks about, where you wake up in the morning, you look outside and you take the things that sometimes maybe you take for granted, almost like watching a bird, listening to a bird sing, or if you can see the bird, watching the bird sing or fly around. And I think it varies from day to day. I don't really have a structured thing that I do. But recently, with the Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up, I'm watching my kids grow, and I have friends that have kids that are teenagers, have moved out of the house in college, or even my neighbors are a little older along the path, a little wiser, and their kids are 40, 50 years old. And we always get the thing where these parents go, man, I wish my kids were as young as yours right now. And I overheard a parent with the same age kids as us go, I wish my kids were as old as your kids. It's like it's one or the other. And what I've tried to really do the last, especially a couple of weeks going into the holidays, is to watch my kids, listen to what they're saying, and really put into perspective of if I'm 20 years down the road and I'm 60, looking back to those times with what my kids are saying or how they're acting or what they're doing activity wise, is I'm really trying to be present in the moment and be there with them as they're doing that, whatever they're doing, whether it's an activity or watching a movie or anything like that, because kids say the darndest things. So that's what I would say is my silent gratitude, is watching the kiddos and put myself in a 20 years older than I am now perspective.
I love that. That is something I didn't think about. I don't have kids, but definitely, with the Bible study and the silent gratitude, that's amazing. Anybody else want to go without me picking on you?
I'll go.
Peace.
I had a hard time thinking about silent gratitude because for me, I know how important it was raising my kids and teaching them manners and saying thank you and showing appreciation and showing your gratitude to people. And so I relate that to it being verbal. The only thing I could really think about in relation, of course, I'm not currently married or in a relationship, but I know for people who are sometimes just doing the dishes without asking or picking up the table after you've made a meal, those are just like little affirmations to people, like, I appreciate what the meal that you just cooked for me, and so I'm going to clean up, and little things like that. I had a moment a couple weeks ago where I came home, and there's a joke because it's just me and my 22-year-old daughter at home and her boyfriend a lot, but I tease her because I said, there's something in your, for some reason, you always manage to park in the spot where the garbage cans go on garbage night. So I have to come home and I have to tell her to move her car and, this whole thing. And I pull up totally expecting it. It's a joke now. It doesn't irritate me, but I expect to see her car there. And what I found instead were the garbage cans were actually put out. And so that was just one of those moments that I appreciated. And I guess I'll take that as a silent gratitude that she appreciated me and didn't want me to have to go through the work. I don't know. That's the example that I can think of.
Like you said, it's the small things that add up and that count, I definitely would think that as a silent gratitude myself as well, especially when my husband does the kitchen without me asking. Oh gosh. Does anybody else want to answer any of the questions?
Storm,
Oh,
go for it, buddy.
All right. So this was actually really challenging for me because I'm just not thinking about it. It's like, what is silent gratitude? For myself, I had a really big challenge with just with a number of things. And then I think a lovely book that I needed, it's called The 7 Love Languages. And it really breaks down how people will bond at different levels. I mean, there's for me, bonding is up here or down here in different levels in that book. And some are more important, some are less important. So when we go over and we're talking about silent gratitude, Denise, she was brought up as such a powerful point for me is acts of service. And that's one thing I do for my mom because the kitchen. And then Heather, I mean, if someone does the kitchen for you or vacuums or cleans up the shower bathroom, I think it's a really lovely way to show gratitude. And then when it's done for you as well, I mean, you don't always have to say thank you. You just put a smile and go give that person a hug. Because I think that communicates more powerfully than verbal or words.
I definitely agree with you there, Storm. Okay. I definitely think silent gratitude comes in a lot of different forms for sure. And I loved being your table topic master today. So thank you for bearing with me for the first time. I really appreciate it.
Good. We can keep going, Heather.
Okay.
We got some time. We're good. We could probably get everybody today because we only had one speech, we have one eval, so we could probably get to the 12:44, 12:45.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm trying to think. I obviously the question I wrote down was, if there is a time where silent gratitude was louder than a grand gesture, and I can't think of an example myself. Does anybody have an example where something silent was louder than one of those grand gestures in your life?
Farron?
Farron? It doesn't have to be that exact question, any of the other questions, but.
I guess I could go. I'm going to take a different perspective on it, though. I kind of agree with the theme of today's meeting, where silent gratitude isn't much use to anyone. I feel like it's really important to express your gratitude verbally. Maybe it's because one of my higher love languages out of the 5 is words of affirmation. And I do think that it's important to express that you're thankful for somebody for cooking you a meal or paying for a meal. Or, I mean, as a mom, I'm constantly doing things for my kids. And sometimes you can just get into this rut where you feel completely unappreciated. You're doing so much all the time. You're overworked. You work 24/7, and your kids don't say, "Oh, thanks for making dinner tonight, Mom," or "Thanks for finding my shoe that I was looking for an hour." You don't get those words. And when you do, then it makes you feel really good as a parent that, one, you are appreciated for what you're doing, and 2, that you're raising your kids to show gratitude in that way. So I think it's really important to express your gratitude verbally. Just my opinion.
Good answer.
What about you, Chanel? Do you have any feelings about gratitude and it being silent?
I was trying to think of a good answer to one of your questions, but I'm having brain blockage moment.
I know the feeling.
I know that one area that I've had to work on showing my gratitude, or perhaps being more willing to serve in. So I still live with my parents, and my mom is an incredibly clean housekeeper. She likes everything to be just so. My sisters and I grew up this way. She feels the need for some reason to vacuum our floor every single day, which not all of the carpets, but our like hardwood floor, which of course I always felt to see the usefulness of. And so of course, when I was younger, I used to gripe and complain, why do we have to do these chores every day? We're not even having people over. What's the point? It doesn't seem like a good use of time. But as I've become older and hopefully more mature, I have realized that just doing those things, even if they seem meaningless or very important to me, do mean a lot to her, to just do them without complaining and without being asked. So that's a way that I've tried to show my gratitude to my mom for all of the things that she does for me, is by doing something that is important and meaningful to her. And that's all I have.
Good answer, Chanel.
It's funny how the things, as kids, they drive us crazy when our parents do these things. But now that we're older, we get it. It's like, oh, that makes so much more sense.
I still don't get it, but it's sure, so.
You will.
Yeah.
Is anyone else going?
You want to go, Denny?
I will. In my office, in my photography studio, hangs a beautiful picture of my grandmother on her wedding day. And every time I walk by it, I touch it. She's, long gone, but I'm grateful to her. And there's no other way for me to express it except to, every time I see that picture, it just brings that back to me. So, and I'm kind of in that business. I'm in that business of putting pictures up on the wall that people are grateful for. So it's how I live my life, is how I express gratitude for the people that came before me, and showing respect to my elders, to my parents, to my grandparents. Just showing them respect in any way is silent gratitude for me.
Awesome, Denny.
What about you, Brent?
Oh, yes, that's silent gratitude, I think, is easier almost to show to people that you're very close with, including your immediate family. This is one thing that I'm struggling with right now at work, with me being in senior management at my company. Senior managers don't really get a lot of gratitude since we're higher up on the career scale, but seeing that, I need to make sure that some of my workers at my company get that gratitude from me, because I know with them being younger managers, they're still in that age and mindset that they need that reaffirmation that they're doing a good job. So in fact, last week I had a series of meetings with some of my managers, and that was brought up. So not only silent gratitude is important, but especially in the workplace, I think those big examples of gratitude shine really good in the workplace, as well as give that employee basically kudos and a job well done. Helps their self-esteem.
I definitely would agree with
Brent.
that. Anybody else would like to go?
Probably got time for maybe 2 more, Heather.
What about you?
Yeah.
Go, Taylor.
Have me crying.
I think
About my grandma. Sorry, Heather, go ahead.
Oh, I think I interpreted this question a little differently. Like right now, with the days getting shorter, it's a lot darker. It's kind of people tend to get a little more down, and I think that gratitude, just showing your gratitude in the little things, can help lift you up. So something that I do is I like go on walks with my dog, and I make sure to be very present and look around and see the leaves changing and feel the fresh air. And that can really help me. Just having gratitude for the little things can help make me feel better. I've heard that getting in tune to your senses can help that a lot. So just taking note of what you see, what you smell, what you can touch, what you hear, things like that, and having gratitude for the environment around you can really help uplift your spirits. So that's how I interpreted the question.
Thank you, Taylor. One more? I really want to say it. Awesome Dawson, would you be willing to answer the question?
I was thinking about this a lot because when I first saw silent gratitude isn't I can't remember the whole phrase, but let's see, silent gratitude isn't much use to anyone. And I thought, I don't really agree with that. But then as I was reading it more, I'm like, yeah, because I remember when I was working as a therapist, and I just remember how important it was to the kids, like for their parent to appreciate them when like they did what they were supposed to. And the parents are like, they're supposed to do that. Why should we thank them? And it was like, if it's going to help them do better, why not just tell them thank you? And so there's lots of things going back and forth. And then I remember like when I was in India, my friend, I would say thank you for everything. I'm like, oh, so thank you for this, because they were just totally taking care of me, the family that was working with me. And my friend says, you don't really need to say that. And I'm like, well, what do you say for somebody if you're grateful? He said, well, thank you. He said, but we don't really do that here. It's just like as a friend, you're kind of expected to do those kind of things, and you just do it because you love them and care about them. So I don't know, I think I agree with Farron, like it's really good to hear it. And Brent, as you were saying that about your coworkers, I was thinking about a time when just recently with a staff member, we all got together and we had a day where we just said what we appreciated about each other. And we had like, a page and a half of notes, that everything, that all the good that people saw in each other, and it completely uplifted their spirits and wanted to encourage them. And so I think, even though like there are lots of acts of service and all those kind of things that I prefer rather than words of affirmation, saying a thank you out loud to people is so important. And there you go. That's lots of my thoughts rolling around.
Yeah.
I just get some idea. Can I say something?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Winnie.
Of course.
Yeah, maybe my culture, if we had a best relationship, we do not really say thank you each other. Like we thank mom, parents, or husband, wife. We never say that. We just think that, but we do not say it. Last week, I told my mom, I love you. My mom, oh my gosh, what's wrong with you? She did not get used it. So our family right now, we are to learning it, how to thank for each other. And I teach my kids to thank for your parents. Every time I told them, when my mom or dad have prepared the food for you, you need to say thank you. You are so tired. I'm so love you. So right now the kids can see that. So for our parents, and I need to say my mom say thank for my husband, but it's good way to express our love, our thank to each other. That's a good attitude. Thank you.
Great thought, Winnie.
I love that. So do I pass it back to you, Joey or Sarah?
You do, Heather. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great work today.
Thanks.
Your affirmation. Yeah, first time. I have a feeling that there's going to be a virtual sticker at the end of this today for you, for your first time. Just saying. Farron smiling. With this, I will start our evaluation team. Before we get to the other leadership roles, I want to bring up Chanel, who evaluated Denny's speech today. So Chanel.
Thank you, Joey. Voice, I'm not feeling copacetic today. I am actually sick, unfortunately, so I'm holed up in my bedroom. But Miss Denny, firstly, you picked a really relevant topic for your speech, something that everybody can relate to. And I think that you did a good job of putting the topic directly in your title. It was a good hook the way that you started out, because I immediately knew, oh, okay, I can learn something from this. And I think everybody else likely felt similarly. I also really enjoyed your alliteration of the Denny do's and don'ts. That's very clever, and alliterating it makes it memorable. Definitely. Some things to work on. I did catch a couple tisks, which I know that I myself am guilty of doing. People have called that out on me several times. I was also trying to keep track of the tips that you were giving, the do's and don'ts. I think that I caught 3. However, I was having a little bit of trouble following specifically what the tips were. So I think a little bit more emphasis on those points and then maybe recapping them could be helpful also, just to remember the 3. So yeah, I just tissed right there. You did good standing up, really good eye contact and posture and everything. You do have a little bit of a hand thing, I think, in front of it was like a repetitive hand movement. I don't know exactly what it was, but kind of like this. So maybe work on that so that your hands are moving a little bit more freely, not always in the same place. And to finish, you ended with a really good one-liner, which was "Money doesn't last, but our choices about it do." I don't know if you made that up, but it's very clever and a really good phrase to end with because it's concise, it sums up the main point of your speech, and it's very memorable and will stick in the mind. So really good wordsmithing, I think, in this speech with your different titles and sayings. So overall, very good job, very good points for me to remember. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chanel. Very thorough. I like that. Very thorough. All right, let's get to the rest of our team. And I want to skip over Chanel. I want to give a couple of people a chance, if they haven't used the word of the day, to use it. So we'll save the best for last on that. So I want to call up Taylor to give our counter report.
All right, everyone did really well today. Oh, I'll put that down for myself. Storm, you had 1 like and 1 yeah. Chanel, I think you had 1 so. Sarah had 1 or 2 ums and likes. Denny, you had 1 or 2 and likes as well. And then Winnie had a like. And then I think I had 1 of everything. I had a so, yeah, and a few ums. So there we go. And I don't know what a tisk is. I think I'm not catching that.
Yeah,
Okay,
different. It's a
got it.
very, yeah, Dave, who used to be in our club, he works for, I think he's head guy at LAFCO, and we'd always get him on the tisks. It was always it's like a lip smack. It could be just a little filler that we try and catch.
My ear's not trained to that yet.
You'll get there.
I would like to add one to the list that I've been catching myself on a lot, and it's I mean.
Mm-hmm.
I say that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, because 2 weeks ago I had the Facebook Live events for Measure C. Because they had me mic'd, it picked up a tisk that I've never realized I've done or that anybody's ever mentioned in Toastmasters. But because the mic was there, when I watched the videos back, it was really prominent. But interesting.
Yeah.
Very subtle in real life, but it was there.
Yeah. And it's not the little, like you do it once, right? Denise, you're talking about doing it once. It's not that we're trying to stop. I mean, if you can stop them, it's great, but it doesn't really take away from your message. It's when you hear like you see a lot of politicians, entertainers, when they're off camera, like the entertainers off of a movie camera script type thing where they're being asked a question, you hear that and it takes away from the message. But a single tisk here and there, not as big of a deal. But if you're smacking your lips the whole time you're talking, yeah, that's a big deal. All right, great report, Taylor. Thank you so much. And then with our timer report, Mr. Storm Davis.
Ladies and gentlemen, so I'm the timer for today. All right, so we had 1 speech and an evaluation. So our speech was, let me find that. Our speech was Denny, and she was at 8 minutes, 59 seconds. So close. And she did really well. I love the speech right there. Chanel was the evaluator, and she came in at 2 minutes, 40 seconds. Then we have table topics. Our table topics was Farron, you were at 1 minute, 10 seconds. Joey, you're at 1 minute, 57 seconds. So close to that 2 minute mark. Awesome. Sarah, you are at 1 minute, 37 seconds. Denny, you're at 1 minute. Denise, I'm so sorry. Denise, you're at 1 minute, 54 seconds. Brent was 1:14. Winnie was 1:15. I was at 1:15 as well. I was like, wow, I ran out of something to say. And then Taylor was at 1 minute, 4 seconds. Thank you so much for the meeting today. Hopefully everybody is, can't even remember the word. Copacetic day. And yeah, Chanel, I hope you feel better, get that vitamin D, that vitamin C, that sunshine and stuff like that. And I hope you get well.
Thank you for that, Storm. Way to go. See, that's why I wanted to wait until I brought Chanel up to give others a chance to use the word. So Chanel, how'd we do?
I caught 5 people. Let me know if I missed anybody, but I got Joey, Sarah, Heather, Storm, and myself saying it each. Is that everybody that did? So good job, not bad. I think this is probably the 2nd time in my Toastmasters days that I've actually said the word of the day. So
hey,
pretty excited.
Yeah. Way to go, Chanel. Thank you. All right. The general evaluation of the meeting, I think it went well. We started on time. We're going to end on time because I don't get the mic anymore. I got to give it back over to our El Presidente, Farron. Our speech, Denny, great timely advice. I think our evaluation, very thorough from Chanel, and our table topics is great. We get to learn a little bit more about our members. So great work today. And I will hand the mic back over to Farron in record time for myself.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Let's give out some virtual stickers. First of all, are there any birthdays this week? No birthdays? Okay. Well, let's give virtual stickers to Denny, first of all, for her excellent speech about money. Very relevant topic. Loved it. Another sticker to Chanel for your evaluation. I thought you did a really fantastic job on that evaluation. You were very thorough and you kept it within the time limit. That's a really hard thing to do. Great job on that. And of course, to Heather for her first time as Table Topics Master. Great questions. I felt like you did a really good job for your first time. And Taylor, was that your first time doing Odd Counter?
Yeah.
Okay, sticker to you too for first time doing Odd Counter. Thought you did a good job as well. And let's go to next week's agenda. Do we have a Toastmaster? The meeting theme for next week is Pearl Harbor Day of Remembrance, December 8th. Any Toastmaster for that one? Denny? We have speakers Joey and Taylor. You guys good to go for that? Awesome. And then who would like to evaluate Joey and or Taylor? Any evaluators? Denise, who would you like to evaluate?
I'm good either way. Joey's fine.
Okay. And then an evaluator for Taylor? I can do it.
Do it.
All right, Table Topics Master.
I want to.
There. General evaluator?
I'll do general evaluator.
Yay.
Chanel? Okay.
Yeah.
And grammarian?
Winnie?
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Winnie. Counter?
Do that.
Brent? Awesome. And timer? Heather, do you want to take that on? Cool. Heather will be the timer.
I need a certain timer, right? Toastmaster
Any
timer.
timer that you find on your phone, or there's the Toastmasters app, and it has a timing feature on that as well, but whatever works best for you.
Okay, thanks.
And then would anyone else like to do Zoom Master?
Mm.
I'm terrible at it. I'm not doing that again.
Chanel, you want to give it a try?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Sweet.
Erin, can you remember to put some time in there for the swearing in of the new members?
Yes. Thank you for that. We will do
Give me
that.
a reminder to send out the little script so that everybody has it ahead of time.
Okay. I'll do that as well. Awesome. And then December 15th, I have Sonia and myself speaking. Would anyone else like to give a speech on our last meeting of the year? Keep it at those two speeches. All right.
But I will tell Joey, I will do it in the new year, and I'm going to use the last week to sign up for Pathways or whatever, figure that out. So I will do it in the new year. So
Let me know.
when it comes.
Let me know, Sarah. I'll get you in as fast can be.
All right.
Great. Do we have any questions, comments, criticisms of today's meeting?
Good job, everyone.
Yeah, I think it was great.
This was good.
And Farron, you've been doing great, by the way. You've been doing great with El Presidente, with everything, trying to juggle it. It's a lot.
Grateful for you all.
Yeah.
Were you raising your hand? No? Okay. All right, I guess we're good to go. We're gonna log off early. Meeting adjourned at 12:59.
Everybody,
Back to
have a good
work.
week. Have a good week.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. everyone.
Bye.